Somewhere around 2020, a very strange phenomenon was beginning to circulate online, specifically on a website known as Wayfair. You see, some of the items displayed on the website, such as cabinets, had some truly odd names. The names of missing children, in fact. Weirdly enough, these items were being priced at ridiculous amounts. This left people very bewildered. Why are missing children's names being put on these items? Not only that, but these items were seemingly scrubbed from the market after attention was brought to them. Wayfair denied all accusations, offering very vague details on the situation. So there's a few plot holes in this conspiracy that I'll go over throughout this video. Most articles and topics that I've seen are dated in 2020, and that's pretty much it. People have seemingly forgotten about this story, but strangely enough, this phenomenon is still happening. Some people are still finding these items with missing children as the name, so what is really going on? You see, this all began when a 13-year-old girl ran away from home. I obviously won't be saying her name in this video, but little did she know, the internet would soon bombard her and her family based off posts seen online. After returning home a few days later, thousands of people on the internet were talking about the same thing, but it wasn't the fact that she was missing for a few days. This 13-year-old was going viral, along with a dozen of other missing children. Upon taking a glance on Wayfair, her family soon discovered that their child's name was posted on a pillow listing. This, in fact, was very distressing for the family. Every passing minute, the 13-year-old and her family were being alerted with mass notifications, all on the well-being of their child. Another missing girl in Kansas City also had her name reportedly put on Wayfair items in a similar fashion as the others. This was due to people online putting the pieces together. But not only did she return home, but this was a few years before the Wayfair situation began circulating. Even more strange is that a 16-year-old boy went missing in Maryland. It sparked attention when his name was also seen on highly priced Wayfair items. This kid is seemingly known for running away from home, unfortunately. However, an employee at Walmart would soon recognize the boy, and he responded by telling the woman to, quote, "chill out, everything's good." The Walmart employee called the police anyway. The boy's family and friends were concerned when they seen his name on Wayfair items, but luckily he was pretty chill about the whole thing. The point is that some of these missing children seen on these items aren't even missing. In fact, there is even more formerly missing teenagers speaking out against the allegations and their involvement with Wayfair. To be honest, I really can't say if this conspiracy is true or not, but I can say that it's not entirely accurate. Most, if not all, of the missing people in this screen were found safely. But at the same time, there's so many strange things about this Wayfair situation. To avoid getting this video taken down, I'm gonna call this guy Pepstein. So Pepstein's personal manager was, and supposedly, a recruiting manager for Wayfair. So yeah, that's not good. Originally, posts on Twitter, such as this one, were the beginning of this phenomenon. But a woman by the name of Zari, an activist and college student, helped boost this supposed conspiracy involving Wayfair and the selling of missing humans. But there simply wasn't enough information on this situation. But Zari wasn't the main one responsible for this phenomenon. You see, there's a group known as QA, and supposedly, this is where the Wayfair human trafficking was ultimately picked up by. Or at least, that's what every Google search wants you to believe. Mostly every article I've seen, they seem to throw the blame on QA. I kid you not, some of these articles were actually copy and pasted. A devout member, who goes by Polly, who's professed her allegiance to the organization, also led the charge in spreading this situation more widely. Not to mention, this was during lockdown, when everyone was pretty much skeptical of the government and what was happening around them. While Polly was targeting major high-profile organizations, she stumbled upon something that truly raised an eyebrow, ultimately matching these pieces to the names of missing children, thus bringing more attention onto the allegations. Meanwhile, Zari would soon realize that the 13-year-old girl in the Wayfair post was back home with her family. Thus, she deleted everything related to Wayfair, yet the impact was already in place. The family of the formerly missing child suffered heavily due to the online attention, putting them on edge. The fear of being in public with their own child because of the frenzy happening online. Many social media influencers continued to push this situation across the masses. It would soon hit TikTok, where the younger audiences usually just believe in whatever narrative that everyone else follows. This video is in no way discrediting the true issue of missing children across the world. We have to share this same planet with some truly horrible human beings. But this Wayfair conspiracy, it negatively affected individuals who were actually trafficked. Just 2 weeks after the situation went viral, the National Human Trafficking Hotline was being bombarded by reports, with many individuals being put on ridiculous hold times, and even to the point that they were unable to get the resources they needed. Even written assistance requests were being thrown into a box full of reports. The Wayfair situation caused this massive spike. Many investigations were put on hold because of this, which potentially put other people's lives at risk. Polaris, who helps operate the US National Human Trafficking Hotline, claimed that they had to hire additional security for various locations because people were threatening to, quote, free the kids with weapons of their own. Social media platforms began censoring anything involved with Wayfair. Perhaps they did this as a way to reduce misinformation, but I think this method may have added more suspicion to the entire thing. But they went all out at censoring QA content, forcing the group to use other methods and hashtags such as Save the Children. There is undoubtedly tons of misinformation being spread about humans being trafficked, especially on platforms like TikTok, where the children are eager to profit off any big story that catches their attention, without giving much thought into research. Human trafficking investigators at the Department of Homeland Security, who had to pause active investigations to sort out what was happening with Wayfair, would find no evidence to support any of the allegations. Wayfair staff, bombarded with threats, would realize how the pricing anomalies were happening. Anti-trafficking organizations, inundated with callers, would beg the public to stop sharing bogus stories that made their job even more difficult. But why are items still being labeled with missing children's names on the website? To this day, people are still finding these. One theory is that this could be modern-day money laundering, or just algorithmic pricing. Amazon's algorithm rewards long-standing products with high sales. In fact, in 2011 there was a bunch of press about a book on Amazon being listed for $24 million. It could be the system automatically raising prices to match competitors. Or maybe people are actually being sold on these websites. It is very much a possibility, and perhaps the truth is finally coming to the light. It would make more sense to look into these vendors who are selling these items. But to be honest, some of these high prices aren't too much out of the ordinary. A $10,000 cabinet is probably a really good quality cabinet. For someone who's wealthy, I don't see what's wrong with an investment like that. Information can be spread very quickly, whether it's entirely true or not, which can make things possibly dangerous. Individuals who are actually trafficked were negatively affected by this whole situation, reducing their opportunities to seek actual help. There is a legitimate issue of missing children though, so I do hope this video was informative on this topic and brought some clarification. It was actually only just recently that I saw the whole Wayfair thing making rounds again online, but not on any articles or anything, but on Twitter to be specific, a place filled with the most accurate and unbiased news reporting. And I was just seeing so many fear-mongering posts that I just had to make my own video on it. There's still some odd conspiracies around this though, specifically with this Tom Hanks post. There might be nothing to this though, it could honestly just be nothing, so I'm interested in hearing people's opinions on this post. It could just be Twitter spreading misinformation again, which isn't all that surprising. I like to look at all sides of a story, not just believe headlines, but I do think the general consensus is that Tom Hanks is a creep. We all know how weird Hollywood is, and I've heard some odd things about him, especially with the Isaac Cappy situation, if you haven't heard about that. It's definitely interesting, and I recommend you look into it. I just wanted to get more insight into this Wayfair thing, but that's pretty much it for this topic. Hopefully you found it interesting.